Petroplague is a disaster thriller, so
Yeah.
these things get out and bad things happen.
But can it be contained and eradicated?
Well, you'd have to read the book to find out.
Yeah, she's
how
not
they
going to
get
tell you. You're going to
out
have to
of
read
it.
the book.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Such bacteria do exist, by the way. I mean, that's part of what I do, is that there's always something
Uh-huh.
real in everything that I do, and it just gets extrapolated or twisted in a way that enters the realm of fiction. But these hydrocarbon-eating bacteria that break down gasoline and other oil products, they exist in nature. They're a very important part of how oil spills naturally break down and whatnot.
Amy, it sounds like your stories would really make a great movie. Have you tried presenting them to any of the movie?
That is one
models?
category of person I have not really met in the California Writers Club, is somebody who's looking to buy screenplays or
Right.
movies.
We should
But,
look into that. Maybe we should get one of the speakers, who could help us in that.
Or advertise. I got this book on the shelf. You should read it. It tells you how the world's going to be destroyed.
Petroplague would make a very good movie. It has that sort of, that disaster scenario
Yeah,
of
the
Los
little bit
Angeles.
you talked about
planes
had me
crashing.
thinking, that'd be a good movie.
We'll have to bring that up to the board meeting, I think,
Yeah.
because I'd like to. Because I'm thinking that maybe my fairy tales could be made in some type of animated production.
Yes.
I think a lot of us are wondering, could it be possibly, a springboard to something, great for one of our stories?
Many people who read my novels say they picture it as a movie.
Right, yeah. Now, you have an idea like that, you have to present to a board in order for that to move forward, or
Well,
is this
it's-
something you can do on your own?
This is the board.
This is the board.
I'm one of the board people, okay?
Right,
So I'm on the
okay.
board. And Jenny's one of the officers, and so we have a whole slate of officers that meet following our general meeting. And we're open to ideas, and also Ray Blaine out here, he's out in the audience, he's also on the board. We're in it together, right? At any rate, so we are always open to ideas, because we want to serve the club. It's really an open club, we're open to ideas, and so I think we're going to have the next board meeting. We'll bring these ideas up.
Okay.
And see, because we want to serve our writers the best that we can.
Now, when you have your board meeting, do you have members of your group coming to the board meeting, or it's just the board members?
The board
meeting?
members, but it's open to anybody who would like to
Yeah.
attend, because then they can see how the board operates, and
Right.
maybe they want to become a member of the board or run for office.
Or volunteer.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a volunteer-run organization. We're always looking for people to
Yes,
show
yes,
up
we don't turn
and
people
help
away.
and
And
do
help,
and
yeah.
participate.
Right.
Right.
Do you hold events around town?
We're having
Yes.
a conference, a writing conference tomorrow,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, yeah?
The details are not with me right now, but so we are doing writers' workshops that are all day that help writers on certain topics.
Oh, okay.
And those events are ongoing.
Yeah.
So in terms of sponsoring conferences, I don't think we're quite at that point yet.
Oh, okay.
We've been talking about the possibility, though, at the board meetings.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
are.
Something that
laying
might
the groundwork.
happen.
Right. Because I was trying to figure out, people that do not write, how, if they wanted to help out with you guys, and how can they do that? I mean,
All they have to do is come to a meeting,
Okay.
and we will definitely show them the way.
Oh, okay.
Because we are open to volunteerism. We love having people help out. Writers, and many of us are very, very busy people. And the more hands, the merrier. So it's a very open
And
system.
on November 18th, Mark Coker, he's the CEO of Smashwords and Publishing, and he's a publishing visionary. This is a really, guy's a heavyweight, I guess, in the
He is,
industry.
yeah.
We get some really great quality speakers. He's going to be talking about the future of publishing that all writers need to know. So I'm definitely going to be there.
That's going to be a big event.
Saying-
That's the November meeting?
That's
Yes.
the November
Yeah.
18th.
It's gonna be very
now.
big.
Now,
Yeah.
do you advertise these events so that people can
Yeah.
Yes.
all come to
We
them?
try.
They
You
have
can go on
press
our
releases.
website.
Okay.
Yeah, what is,
Website.
what is the URL for the website?
Oh, I just happen to have it here, okay?
Oh, do you?
Okay.
Excellent.
I'm so smart, okay. www.cwcsacramentowriters.org,
Okay.
okay?
All
And
right.
all the information's there, and you can find out what we're up to, and come to our meeting and check us out, and I think that they're not gonna be able to resist what we have to offer. What do you think?
It's a wonderful club, wonderful community,
All right, yeah.
lifelong friends, lifelong associates,
Ongoing
Tons.
inspiration.
tons of help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
I really enjoyed the soiree, we were talking about this earlier,
Mhm.
that Jenny had, and it was so wonderful. I was invited to come, and Ken came with us, and they had wonderful food and drinks, and we got to
Do they
meet all
have
these.
blueberry muffins?
That comes next.
Oh, that comes
She had
next?
snacks and a cake. Well, anyway, so what you do is, I had a great time, and then Jenny read from her book. We're all sitting there, and it was in a home, and I think that these soirees have wonderful possibility. I think you've been doing it for quite a
For
while.
many years, yeah.
And I think I'd like to do a soiree too, so,
Yeah, we
look
should
out.
do one.
with a little bit of music.
Right.
Well, Ken, he can provide the music for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Trumpet or harmonica, he's
Yeah.
your man.
Yeah, I had Linda here doing another show for Out and About Sacramento, and she was reading one of her stories, and Ken was doing all the sound effects for it. It came out really
Nice.
And
That
you
is
know,
good.
I have to give a band credit because even though I'm a musician myself, I play violin, and Ken is. The first show we were doing together, it was just a couple hours before we were going to film it, and you called up. You knew that Ken was a trumpet player, and you said, I remember you said to me, "Well, Lynn, there's a trumpet player in that story. Why don't you have Ken play his trumpet?" So we're musicians. You would have thought that we would have put two and two together and realized I could, because it's about a trumpet player, right? So, but Van saw the obvious that we didn't see. So why don't you have Ken, do some musical touches as you play? So we put it together rather quickly, and then we rushed
Yeah.
over here, and I know
It
when
came out good.
yeah, I was really encouraged. So
Yeah.
that opened up the door to several productions we've done with harmonica, guitar, and who knows what we're going to use next.
Yeah. You still have the young man, your guitar player?
Oh yeah, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And other thing you've been asking me, we were thinking maybe we can bring him on for another show.
Yeah,
He's very good.
definitely,
He's
yeah.
very good. He's a boy that lives next door. I was telling you about.
And he was also in costume, playing guitar.
Yes, he dressed up. Yes, he looked really quite dashing.
Yeah, it was a good show. Very good.
But I thank
And
you.
then-
I thank you again for getting us going in that musical direction.
Yeah. This is just something I was like, okay, this is a trumpet player, so I'll come Ken can. Basically, that's how Ken and I got together at, I think it was the Hot Jazz out there in Rancho. And the group that I like, Eve Evans from LA, she's also like a cousin, was playing, and Ken and I standing in the back, and we started talking. And we talked about, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I think Ken's from Pennsylvania. We got into that, and then he told me about Linda writing and everything, and well, let's have her on my show. So I told him about my show, and next thing you know, that's history,
Yeah. Ken's my best promoter.
Yeah,
He's
he
always
is.
getting. I'd sit there. He's always out there. Have you heard about my wife's fairy
Yeah.
tales?
So yeah, so you're gonna be back at the state fair this year?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm slated to be there for 5 days, and Jenny's going to be there too. So we're going to
Oh,
compare
okay, so I'll be
notes.
seeing you there.
Yes.
Yeah. Check
Because
us out.
I'm on the board for Friends of the Fair,
Oh.
Great.
so I'll be out there working every day. So.
Well, please come and visit us.
Oh yeah.
Where would
definitely.
I go at the fair to find you?
Isn't it building
the
A? I
County
think.
buildings, yeah, County Building A.
Oh, across
First
from the
floor.
hot bun, the sweet
the
rolls.
cinnamon rolls.
Follow the cinnamon
That's
rolls.
right. Everybody knows where we are. That's what you say, right?
Yeah, you come in the
Okay.
front door and make a right, and they're right there.
And that's an exhibit of all California writers, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
California writers, right? And they have a schedule on, so you can check the schedule and see when we're
Right,
going to be
yeah.
there.
That's
Yeah.
good, really. So yeah, 'cause I came walking through there doing something else, and I seen Linda over there, like, what is she doing here? I was going to start talking.
It was legit and everything.
Yeah, good. And then she was talking about all the awards he was getting.
Yeah.
He
I
was going to LA for an award, and
Yes.
then he was someplace else he was going
won
for
about
another.
5 awards, and I took first place in the
Yeah.
San Francisco Book Festival. And then you were mentioning Amsterdam. No, I don't know if I've won or not. We're kind of
Okay.
like Prince and Needle, but this is the Amsterdam Book Festival Award, and I entered it some time ago, and I just thought they lost my book. I didn't hear anything, and then I've been getting these emails. It was we're now looking at your book, and evaluating it. And then the organizer sent me an email this morning that really got my blood pressure up. He said, we want to inquire if you're planning to come to Amsterdam because we have the award ceremony
my
and
gosh.
banquet on
Is that great?
June 10th.
Wow.
So, and I don't know if I've won.
Does
I
that
mean, this
mean?
is like,
I know.
but I'm dreaming, okay? So why would he ask me if I was available to come to Amsterdam?
Right,
So Ken
see?
said, well, if it works out, because he said he's going to let me know very soon, you know, if I placed, you know, if I win the contest, we're going to Amsterdam.
All right,
Might as
that
well, you
sounds
know.
good.
Why not?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that one there.
Yeah.
In fact, you
That's
should
exciting.
go and just show up there and say, well, I'm here. Give me my award.
Where's my award? If that doesn't work, start crying.
Yeah, so email. Hey, you sent me this email saying, you know,
Yes, and I-
asked me if I was going to be here. So
I
I'm
believed
here.
in what you said.
Right. You know, you just gave me that hint. That's how I would play that.
Well, I'm just gonna try to wait patiently and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Just do like I do when I ask you to be on my show. What are you doing? Can you be on my show?
I said,
You always say yes.
yes, why not?
You know?
That's the
So
right
that's-
We have
answer.
fun with you,
Alright.
yeah,
Yeah.
cause you're really easy to work with, you see.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
you're a nice guy, and I like the hat.
You like that?
We all like the hat.
The hat works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes the
does.
rest of us look cool.
Yes.
It's like rubs off.
But yeah, well, I think I'm getting a signal that we're almost out of time here. 'Cause I was given 10 minutes ago, and that's like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, really, this
Yeah.
time flies, you know?
Yeah. Oh, okay, we still got some more time.
Oh, we
So,
do.
I have some books. No, I don't have them. You guys have books on the
We do.
table there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should be showing that on the screen. Any way you can talk about some of those books?
Okay, well, there's a hardback book, which you don't see very often, and it has a gilded fairy on it, and that's my Fairy Tales for Life.
Yeah.
My first book is a very small book. That's the one that I got started in the publishing
Mhm.
business here, and it's called Conversations with My Auntie Margaret About Sporty Dogs. So it's got a title about this big. The book's about this big.
Okay. Then I see Madam of My Heart.
Madam My Heart is my novel,
Mhm.
and Brianna Baird, the main character, is on the cover, and it features San Francisco, the old vision of San Francisco, the old daguerreotype of the
Okay.
harbor at the time, and how many ships there were that visited the harbor in San Francisco. And many people have said how much they love my cover.
Yeah.
That it really
That's
is
It is a
beautiful.
beautiful
Beautiful,
cover.
it is.
It's very nice.
Yes,
Mhm.
so I'm very fortunate there.
And then I'm looking at The Hand Agent. That sounds like a scientific book.
That's right. The next two on the stack there are my second and third books. Reversion
Uh-huh.
is one of my science thriller novels. It's set in Mexico at a fancy medical tourism center, a hospital. And an American scientist goes down there to try out an experimental therapy to try to save the life of a little boy. And while
Oh.
she's there, the hospital's taken over by a drug cartel.
Oh, geez.
Because
Sounds
it's a
really
thriller and
interesting.
people die and bad
Yeah.
things happen. And then The Han Agent is my book that's coming out in September. That's actually an early reviewer copy that's sitting there. That book is set largely in Japan, and it's a story about a young Japanese American scientist who's a little bit too ambitious for what she does, and she gets fired from her job at the university for doing illegal experiments on flu viruses. And after she loses her job, she mysteriously gets hired by a Japanese pharmaceutical company that she does not know has